You're listening to the Dynamic Thinking Project podcast. This is episode 56, and today's topic is insomnia. Hey everyone, Adam Musalli here. Welcome to the Dynamic Thinking Project podcast. If this is your first time listening, then thanks for coming. This podcast is released every Friday, and show notes are found at the website, themindtechinstitute.com. It's all one word. Come back often and feel free to add this podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. You can also follow me on Twitter and Facebook. All links are in the show notes and website. And now, let's get started. I know many of my listeners have been waiting for this episode. My apologies, but you know how it is. We get so many suggestions and we have to sort them out in the right order, as I said in previous episodes. Now, before we start, just a little disclaimer here. I am not an MD, a medical doctor. My area of work is education and social and behavioral science. So, for those who suffer from chronic insomnia, which we'll talk about later in this episode, please seek advice from your GP or medical doctor. You're not alone, and many people across the world suffer from insomnia these days. So what is insomnia and what causes it? That will be after we get the intro out of the way. If you are interested in learning and becoming a fully qualified hypnotherapist, neuro-linguistic programming NLP practitioner or master practitioner, a life coach, a counselor, now you can study all that online. All you have to do is visit mti.edu.au or themindtechinstitute.com, and you will find all these courses along with many other courses once you click on the online courses tab. All our diplomas and advanced diplomas are accredited and recognized worldwide, and for more information, all can be found online, themindtechinstitute.com. Going back to insomnia, insomnia is a sleep disorder that characterized by difficulty falling and or staying asleep. People with insomnia have one or more of these symptoms, such as difficulty falling asleep, waking up during the night and having trouble going back to sleep, waking up too early in the morning, feeling tired upon waking, and other symptoms, but those are the four major ones. However, some people, such as myself, I am a 4 hours sleeper with a nice siesta, or a nap whenever I feel it is needed. Does it mean I'm insomniac? No, I can sleep more if I wanted to, but it's a choice. And the reason I'm saying this is because some people like to work at night more than daytime, but it doesn't mean they are insomniac. Also, I am a very light sleeper, and I know many of you are too. A light sleeper is someone who wakes up very quickly and even from the lightest noise around. I mean, it could be just wood resting at night, but this is more than enough. That noise is more than enough to wake me up and also to retain my conscious quickly. But of course, I can go back to sleep unless if there is more adrenaline involved, then it takes longer time to go back to sleep. And this is to make sure that your environment is safe before you go back to sleep again, which is normal. So that's not insomnia too. This could be just we got it through evolution when people used to sleep in less secure places, and they adapted this light sleep pattern to make sure it's safe, and also it could be caused by something happened to you in your early life. I know myself, it was the time when I was in the military, but I kept it because I sort of like it, and I like being a light sleeper. Although it can be easily fixed through hypnosis. But once again, it serves me. It serves my purpose. Now, the most common types of insomnia are two. The first one is called primary insomnia, and the second one is called secondary insomnia. Let's start first with the primary insomnia, which means that a person is having sleep problems that are not directly associated with any other health condition or problems. The secondary insomnia means that a person is having sleep problems because of something else, such as a health condition like asthma, depression, arthritis, cancer, or cancer pain, heartburn, and even thyroid problems. Because if you have hyperthyroid, it means your metabolism is high, and then you cannot sleep at night. And this could, of course, cause insomnia. And if there is any medication, that also can cause insomnia. And if there is substance involved, such as alcohol. You see, insomnia varies in how long it lasts and how often it occurs. It can be short-term, and that is called acute insomnia, or can last a long time, and that is called chronic insomnia. It can also come and go with periods of time when a person has no sleep problems, and the acute insomnia can last from one night to a few weeks. But it becomes chronic when a person has insomnia at least 3 nights a week for a month or longer. And now here we're talking about no sleep at all. We're not talking about 4 or 5 hours of sleep for a few nights and then you call it insomnia. No, we're talking about no sleep. Maybe you just close your eyes and then you wake up. But what causes insomnia? There are various causes, and starting with the acute insomnia, which can include significant life stress, such as a job loss or change, death of a loved one, divorce, moving, or something like that. Just some changes in life, and of course, grief. And illness is one of them too. Emotional or physical discomfort, environmental factors like noise, light, or extreme temperatures, hot or cold, that also interferes with your sleep. Some medications, for example, those you use to treat colds, allergies, depression, high blood pressure, and asthma. Those also may interfere with sleep. And interference in normal sleep schedule, for example, jet lag or switching from a day to night shift, can also cause insomnia. This is just because you are interfering with your biological body clock, and we'll get to that later if we still have time. However, the causes of chronic insomnia can include depression and anxiety, chronic stress, pain, or discomfort at night. Also, insomnia may be a symptom of an underlying sleep disorders. For example, restless leg syndrome, which is a neurological condition in which a person has an uncomfortable sensation of needling to move his or her legs. So this can lead to insomnia. And patients with restless legs syndrome typically experience worse symptoms in the later part of the day during periods of inactivity and in the transition from wake to sleep, which means that falling asleep and staying asleep can be difficult. And by the way, this symptom is common because there is an estimated 10% of the population in the US has restless legs syndrome. That's according to the US National Library of Medicine and other publications too. 10% is not a small number. Also, sleep apnea is another sleep disorder linked to insomnia, and with sleep apnea, a person's airways becomes partially or completely obstructed during sleep, leading to pauses in breathing and a drop in oxygen levels. This causes a person to wake up briefly but repeatedly throughout the night. And people with sleep apnea sometimes report experiencing insomnia. If you have any trouble sleeping on a regular basis, it's a good idea to review your health and think about whether there is any underlying medical issues or sleep disorders could be contributing to your sleep problems. And once again, visiting and discussing it with your doctor is really a great choice. In some cases, there are simple steps that can be taken to improve your sleep, such as avoiding bright light while relaxing and try to limit your possible distractions, such as a TV, computer, or even pets. And once again, talk to your doctor if you need more help. Insomnia also can be caused by psychiatric conditions such as depression. And psychological struggles can make it hard to sleep. Insomnia itself, it can bring on changes in mood, and shifts in hormones and physiology can lead to both psychiatric issues and insomnia at the same time, and could be simply related to cortisol or low serotonin levels. Cortisol is the stress hormone in our body, and the serotonin is the happy or the uplifting hormones in our body. And of course, sleep problems may represent a symptom of depression. And the risk of severe insomnia is much higher in patients with major depressive disorders. There are studies that shows that insomnia can also trigger or worsen the person's depression. So it is important to know that symptoms of depression, such as low energy, loss of interest or motivation, feelings of sadness or hopelessness, and insomnia can be linked, and one can make the other worse. And hopefully very soon we'll dedicate a whole episode about depression. But the good news is that both are treatable, the insomnia and the depression, regardless of which one comes first. Now, can insomnia be related to anxiety? You bet. Most adults have had some trouble sleeping because they feel worried or nervous, but for some, it's a pattern that interferes with sleep on a regular basis. Anxiety symptoms that can lead to insomnia include tension, getting caught up in thoughts about the past or some losses, excessive worrying about the future or future events, feeling overwhelmed by responsibilities, and a general feeling of being revved up or overstimulated. So it is not hard to see why these symptoms of general anxiety can make it difficult to sleep. Anxiety may be associated with onset insomnia, trouble falling asleep, or maintenance insomnia, which is waking up during the night and not being able to return to sleep. In either cases, the quiet and inactivity of night often brings on stressful thoughts or even fears that keep a person awake. When this happens for many nights or many months, you might start to feel anxious, dread, or panic at just the thought of not sleeping. This is how anxiety and insomnia can feed each other and become a cycle that should be interrupted through treatment. Hypnotherapy would definitely help, as we have helped many people in the past, but I highly suggest seeking your doctor because sometimes it could be more as medical rather than a cognitive matter. And another important point or a question maybe you may be asking, can insomnia be related to your lifestyle? Of course it can. Insomnia can be triggered or perpetuated by your behavior and sleep patterns. Unhealthy lifestyles and sleep habits can create insomnia on their own without any underlying psychiatric or medical problems. And I gave some examples earlier of how specific lifestyles and sleep habits can lead to insomnia, but I think we still have a little bit of time left, so I will elaborate more with some details. For example, if you work at home or from home in the evenings, this can make it hard to unwind, and it can also make you feel preoccupied when it comes to time to sleep. The blue light emitting from your computer or TV screen could also make your brain more alert. Another thing is if you take naps, even if they are short naps in the afternoon, short naps can be helpful for some people, but for other people, it could make it difficult for them to fall asleep at night. And by the way, I am one of those people. If I nap late in the afternoon, that would interfere with my sleeping patterns at night. and I don't take any naps at least 2 hours before sunset. Also, if you sometimes sleep in later to make up for the lost sleep hours, this can confuse your body's clock and make it difficult to fall asleep again the following night. And that's because we have our biological body's clock, and take it this way, it's set on a certain time to sleep at night and to wake up during the day. Of course, there are lots of complex hormones are involved and the light and everything, but it takes a very long time to explain. So we have our biological body's clock, and it's already set. So it's set to sleep at night and to wake up during the day. We have different set of hormones during the day are more activated than at night. And if you are a shift or on-call worker, meaning that you work irregular hours, non-traditional hours can confuse your body's clock, especially if you are trying to sleep during the day or if your schedule changes suddenly. And by the way, late exercise at night can also interrupt your sleep patterns, especially if you do high intensity cardio or exercise. You're actually blasting your metabolism for the next 4 to 6 hours. And of course, you will not be able to sleep if you're hyped up. I really prefer exercises very early in the morning, especially for weight loss, as I mentioned in my book, The Day We Gave Up Health, because you're actually boosting your metabolism the very first thing in the morning, and that would help you burn more calories through the whole day. And if you visit the mindtechinstitute.com and click on the shop tab, you'll find the book there in paperback or in PDF. I wrote this book in a very simple or simplified language. If you're actually reading this book, you will think that you're listening to me now as I'm speaking on this podcast. And the reason I wrote this book in this very simplified way so anyone can understand this book. There is no jargon there, and get it in PDF at just a couple or few bucks, I guess. I didn't write this book for any financial gains. I just wanted to share this information with the world. So there are lots of valuable information in this book, and it's all backed up scientifically. There's lots of facts there. It's all collected information. And I know some websites are selling the hard copy or the paperback for $50 or $60. That's ridiculous. And I assure you, they have no affiliation with us whatsoever. They just probably bought the book and they sell it for $50 or $60. You don't need to pay that much for the book. Just get it in PDF. It's just a couple or few bucks. Just go to the mindtechinstitute.com, click on the shop tab, and you'll find the book there with other courses and products. And for hard copy or paperback, I think Amazon is your best option. So some cases of insomnia start out with an acute episode but turn into a longer-term problem. For example, let's say a person cannot sleep for a night or two after receiving, let's say, bad news. In this case, if the person starts to adopt unhealthy sleep habits such as getting up in the middle of the night to work or drinking alcohol before bed to compensate, the insomnia can continue and potentially turn into a more serious problem. Instead of passing, it can become chronic. Once this happens, worry and thoughts such as I will never sleep, that thought or similar thoughts become associated with bedtime. And every time the person cannot sleep, it reinforces the pattern of, as we say in psychology and hypnotherapy, it starts to compound that suggestion into your mind, and later it becomes true. So it's like brainwashing yourself as you will never sleep, and you will never sleep because you said it too many times to yourself. So brainwashing in simple terms, what is brainwashing? Brainwashing is a repeated suggestion. So if you say something to yourself and you keep repeating it, then you're compounding that suggestion in yourself and you start believing it, and it becomes true, and sometimes it becomes part of your belief system. And of course, we teach that in the NLP and the hypnotherapy course. This is why it is important to address insomnia instead of letting it become the norm, or actually your norm. If lifestyle and unhealthy sleep habits are the cause of insomnia, there are cognitive or psychological behavioral techniques such as hypnotherapy and other tips that can help. And if you have tried to change your sleep behaviors and hasn't worked, it is important to take this seriously and talk to your doctor. I'm not fear-mongering here, but seek your doctor if you have insomnia, especially chronic insomnia. And of course, it is important before we wrap it up to mention the relation between insomnia and food. You see, certain substances and activities, including eating patterns, can contribute to insomnia. For example, alcohol is sedative and it can make you fall asleep initially, but may interrupt your sleep later at night. Caffeine is a stimulant. Most people understand the alerting power of caffeine and use it in the morning to help them start the day and feel productive. Caffeine in moderation is fine for most people, but excessive caffeine can cause insomnia. A 2005 National Sleep Foundation poll found that people who drank 4 or 5 cups or cans of caffeinated drinks a day were more likely than those who drank 0 to 1 cups or cans daily to experience at least one symptom of insomnia at least a few nights each week. Caffeine can stay in your system for as long as 8 hours, so the effects are long-lasting. If you have insomnia, it is better not to consume food or drinks with caffeine too close to bedtime. Nicotine is also stimulant and can cause insomnia. Yes, cigarettes or any type of nicotine can cause insomnia. Smoking cigarettes or tobacco products close to bedtime can make it hard to fall asleep and to sleep well through the night. I don't need to preach, but you know that your health is a lot more precious than a cigarette. Heavy meals close to bedtime can interrupt your sleep. It is better to eat lightly before bedtime, and spicy food can also cause heartburn and interfere with your sleep. And now we have way past our runtime, but I think we have covered the major points about insomnia, and your medical doctor is best to ask. So before we wrap it up, once again, if you would like to study and become a fully qualified hypnotherapist, neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, life coach, or a counselor, now you can study all that online. All you have to do is visit mti.edu.au or themindtechinstitute.com, and you'll find all these courses along with many other courses once you click on the online courses tab. All our diplomas and advanced diplomas are accredited and recognized worldwide, and for more information, all can be found online, themindtechinstitute.com. That's it for today. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, as usual, you can email me. The email is on our website, themindtechinstitute.com, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, especially if you are listening to this podcast on YouTube. The Dynamic Thinking Project podcast is released every Friday. Until next time, take care and enjoy your weekend. This is Adam Muselli, signing out.